We begin tonight with Larry Munson. His is a name that is almost as famous as Georgia football. For more than 40 years, fans listened to his distinctive voice calling those Saturday games. He is known for his enthusiasm, has often been criticized for his passion, and has coined phrases that will go down in Bulldog history. His new book has it all. It is From Herschel to a Hobnail Boot. I sat down with Mr. Munson at his home in Athens, and we talked about his life and his career. Staying true to his radio background, we didn't turn on the cameras this time, but he allowed us access to his private photo collection. And they tell a story from a boy in Minnesota to a broadcasting legend.
He picks it up. It looks good. Watch it. Watch it. Yeah.
Ask any true Georgia fan about Larry Munson. Most will have a favorite amongst his legendary calls. He's amassed quite a collection of them. After all, as an announcer, he reigned over the Bulldog Nation for 43 years, more than a lifetime when it comes to most careers, but not for Munson. He came to Georgia from Nashville, where he had already made a name for himself. He was a TV sports anchor, pioneered one of the nation's first fishing shows, and from wrestling to baseball to football, already had a full resume of sports announcing. In 2008, after 6 decades, health problems forced him to step away from the mic. Larry Munson is now telling his story with the help of author Tony Barnhart. You always said you wouldn't write a book.
That's right, I most certainly did, and one of the main reasons was Sean Connery, the movie actor who came right out and said that everybody in Hollywood lied on their autobiography, and he had seen it and watched it over the years, and he made up his mind he would never give an autobiography, so he was not going to write a book. And then he turns around and all of a sudden he does one.
So you decided to follow suit?
Well, I don't know. I just never thought he'd change. I thought he was, he was the original James Bond and all that kind of stuff years ago. And I had a lot of respect for him, but when he decided to write one, I just gave up.
Munson may not be a Hollywood star like Sean Connery, but he is certainly broadcasting and Bulldog royalty. Announcing close to 500 games, Munson has witnessed history, some of the most legendary players and moments in college sports. Tell me about the title, From Herschel to a Hobnail Boot.
Well, I think that's a reference to this was kind of Barnhart's title, I guess, but Herschel was such a big thing at the school when he was there, and we won a national championship with him back in the 80s, and he really left his trademark on the school and right across the campus.
My God almighty, he ran right through 2 men. Herschel ran right over 2 men. They had him dead away inside the 9. Herschel Walker went 16 yards. He drove right over Orange Church, just driving and running with those big thighs. My God, a freshman.
The Hobnail Boot was just a play that happened in the Tennessee game 6-7 years ago, in which we pulled something in the last 3-4 minutes, and we won a game up there. And I said something that was probably not good broadcasting, and that we stepped on their face with a hobnail boot, which is a dumb thing to say. And
you didn't even know what that was, did you?
I did not know, and the Tennessee fans, till this day, resent that I ever said it.
Tennessee playing what amounts to a 4-4 fake, and there's a touchdown! Touchdown! My God, a touchdown! We threw it to Haynes. We just stuffed it with 5 seconds left. My God Almighty! Did you see what he did? David Green just straightened up, and we snuck the fullback over. Haynes is keeping the ball. Haynes has come running all the way across to the bench. We just dumped it over. It's 26-24. We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
But then
Where did that come from,
I don't
though?
know where it came from. I did not know what I was saying. And the very next morning, Furman Bisher of the Atlanta Journal called me and reminded me what a hobnail boot was, because he had grown up with them over in Carolina.
Much of Munson's adult life was spent here in the South, but he grew up in the Midwest. Close to his parents and sister, they would each play a pivotal role in developing what, aside from sports, would become his passions: hunting, fishing, and music. Now, your dad is who introduced you to fishing, right?
Yeah, he really did.
And you're not from Georgia.
No,
you're from Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. We fished up there, and we fished in the Dakotas, and a little later on we hunted in the Dakotas a lot together, and a little bit out west, Montana and Wyoming. He was quite a hunter, and he hunted a lot before me, before I ever had a gun.
You got your love of hunting and fishing from your dad. You got your piano playing skills from your mom.
I guess my mom or my sister. My sister was brilliant, and she played heavy classics, and she could read anything. But she was playing Brahms and Mozart and Beethoven, and she didn't play anything else. I never learned to read well, not really at all. I played by ear mostly.
As a teen, Munson played his piano, even touring at one point. As a man home from World War II with $200 in Army discharge money, he made the decision to enroll in broadcasting school, a move that would launch his career and take him from small-town radio to the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, I did. I heard a commercial on the radio. For $200, they'd guarantee you a job after 13 weeks.
For broadcasting school?
Yeah, I got placed early, like 8 weeks or something. So it worked fine, but I had to start small. Devils Lake, North Dakota. That was about as small as they come.
Elberton, Georgia. That's where I started.
Yeah, that's right. That's small, too. And I went from there to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the rest is kind of history.
A colleague at a network told Munson that he would never make any real money unless he landed a job in baseball. So that's what he did. His big break took him to Nashville. He soon discovered he would be able to not only work in sports, but to develop a groundbreaking television program, one that would combine his love of fishing with the thrill of the outdoors.
And when my fishing show started, I was only the fourth show in the whole country. And so I'm as old or older than all those old-time names you see doing fishing shows now. I'm from way back then.
The fishing show would prove to be a constant for Munson, but in many ways a strain. Working for Georgia on Saturdays, then spending Sundays in Nashville, both meant less time at home, more time out on the road.
Traveling was not always easy because for a long time when I was starting with Georgia, I was the only guy living over in Atlanta, 20-some-odd years, and before that, Nashville, Tennessee. So I was commuting a lot and commuting alone, and it was tough. But I had a TV fishing show going also, and on Sundays was our film day. So we met in a Waffle House on a highway in Tennessee every Sunday morning at 3:45. And it was hard because I'd been with Georgia all day and all night the day before, and I drove home late at night to get there, and by the time I got home, I was kind of whipped out.
And it didn't matter where you had been the day before, you were always there on Sundays.
Yeah, I had to get there, and we shot film. Sometimes I actually fell asleep in the boat. I can remember mornings riding up the lake fast and just falling asleep with a lot of heavy clothing on and stuff, and feeling the snow falling on my face while some other guys driving the boat, because we hadn't reached the place yet where we were going to film. No, that happened more than once.
Although he announced for the Atlanta Braves and later the Falcons, Munson was a college football mainstay. He simply loved the game, and the fans loved him. He mourned the losses and celebrated the wins, often showing enthusiasm or frustration. But in an industry where announcers are expected to, in his words, play down the middle, Munson's passion often drew criticism.
And maybe because I was so much of a homer and rooting too hard for the home team, and a lot of people told me when they first started listening that they couldn't get used to the fact that I kept saying, I do this and we do that and we're in trouble or we might make it.
But you were a fan.
Well, yeah, I guess I was, and I guess I wanted to win too hard.
Snap to David Green. There he goes in the corner again, and we jump up. Touchdown! Oh, God, a touchdown! In the corner! With 85 seconds, somebody went up high. Was it Watson or Gibson? Michael Johnson up high. We're trying to put glasses on it.
Do you get excited when you hear the plays again?
Sometimes I think I sound bad, and sometimes I wish I had added this or that. But other times I figure, gee, I was pretty good then. That's about the way it finally hits you.
Watch this now. I hate to keep saying it, but hunker down. Dogs up to the line, and now Auburn might call time with 1 minute and 4 seconds. Wow.
As the 2007 season got underway, Munson announced he would only call the home games. He just wasn't feeling like himself. In 2008, he underwent surgery for a brain aneurysm, a procedure that left him in need of serious rehab. It was a trying time, and one that showed vulnerability in a man who wasn't used to being sidelined.
They hit Harrison dead on the 9, and Andy bootlegged to the left and scored. My God, Georgia beat Tennessee in Knoxville.
Anxious to return to the game, Munson threw himself into preps, believing even if his body failed, he would always be able to count on the voice that made him famous. You said in the book that you thought you would be okay.
Yeah, we taped a couple of things. We took some football film and ran and looked at it and tried to broadcast off it, and there was no problems, I didn't think. But then when you get into it, you're not exactly the same.
Right.
And I'm glad now that we didn't take a game like, the Florida game or the Auburn game or something. I'm glad we didn't do that. But I didn't think it was going right. And I didn't feel that if I tried to climb a ladder with my voice and really let myself just go, I didn't really think I could do that. So I just walked away. And I thought that would just kill me to do that. But it was okay. I was ready to get out of there.
With the blessings of UGA and his sons, Michael and Jonathan, Munson put down his microphone. The final farewell came in November of 2008 during an emotional ceremony at Sanford Stadium. Larry Munson was 86 years old when he walked out on the field for the last time.
And the students just erupted, and I was standing in the middle of the circle of a lot of people out in the field. And it was kind of a rainy day in a way. And I faced one side and another, and all of a sudden Michael leaned forward to me. He says, "Dad, you're going to have to face the whole crowd." So I turned back and started waving at all 4 sections, all 4 directions. And the students in each one of those sections split the skies. They just went nuts. I may have gotten to that quote, "It's over" deal sooner than that. But yeah, I thought that those 4 sections that I turned to, with so many thousands of students in each section, that kind of wrapped it up.
When asked how he'd like to be remembered, Munson actually looked a little embarrassed. After all, how do you begin to sum up more than 60 years? If you're Larry Munson, you go back to the basics.
Oh, no, I don't know. He wanted to win too hard.
Oh, look at the sugar falling out of the sky. Look at the sugar falling out of the sky.
And he never quit talking about fishing and hunting. And that's probably, both of those things are probably true.